welcome back to a special edition of Samp&Chance. I'm your host, Bobby Sampson, and joined with me, as always, is the man with the master plan, Mr. Chance Michaels. And tonight, Chance, I got to tell you, man, we are honored and privileged to have sitting with us here tonight, all the way from Ontario, former Canadian Super Bantamweight champion, former Commonwealth Bantamweight champion, NABA North American champion, IBF two-time Super Bantamweight champion of the world, Mr. Steve, the Canadian Kid Molitor. Thank you very much, Steve, for joining us. How are you, champ?
I am good. Thank you for the introduction.
Wow, man. Well, you know what? I've been watching your career. I've been watching it since I was a kid, to be honest. As a boxing fan, I've always been a big fan of the Canadian product. One of the things that we really want to do here, being Canadians ourselves on the other coast, that is, we really want to bring light to what boxing, means to Canada and the great talent that's kind of come out of the country. I mean, outside of Lennox Lewis, I want everyone to know who the other champions are. And you know what, man? You fit the billing. You're one of those guys, straight up, rough. And yeah, so that's awesome. Tell us a little bit, man. What got you into the game?
I had an older brother, obviously, I'm sure you know about, who had started like a year and a half, 2 years prior to me. He won the Canadian title in that time. And I basically followed in his footsteps and found my way to the gym. We both played hockey growing up in Sarnia, but we were a little small for hockey and we really excelled at boxing. So we both just stuck with it and fell in love.
Fell in love with it, eh? So I understand you started training at 9?
At 9 years old, yeah, in Sarnia, Ontario, under my coach was Silvio Fex, who now lives in Edmonton or Calgary, Alberta. He's a national team coach, level 5 coach, dedicated 10 years to me personally, plus, 30 years of his volunteer time every day, very dedicated, ran bingos for us to go to trips, to get us that experience that we needed, to go to Detroit and go to all these places to get that experience. So, I mean, I've a lot of respect for what Silvio did for me in my career, as well as a lot of other people from Sarnia, the effort that he put in to the athletes there.
Awesome, man. So it was an easy decision to start boxing, just following in your brother's footsteps, or was there anything that you particularly saw? Like for myself, Marvin Hagler was what got me addicted to boxing. I'll never forget the baby blue shorts, and it was that, we're all about the same age. So a lot of the fights at that time would be on ABC's Wide World of Sports. So it was like Hagler for me was the guy.
I never really loved boxing, but I was a big, massive Wendell Clark fan.
Nice.
And I love the individual sports. I wasn't really a team sport guy, because then you have to rely on what another guy is doing, what he's training, how he's going to react. I love the one-on-one competition, because it all just relied on me.
Awesome.
What was it about Wendell Clark that you loved? His physicalness, his tough style of play?
His leadership, his humbleness, his warrior mentality, everything about that guy was just amazing. I just did a charity event with Doug Gilmore. He was also another guy that I admired the most when they played for the Leafs. Those two guys together, like, I would watch their videos. There's a Wendell Clark video by Metallica that I used to watch before all my world title fights.
Nice.
Yeah, just a lot of heart in those two guys.
Did you ever get a chance to meet him?
Yeah, I met Wendell a couple of times at the charity events for the Special Olympics back when I was champion. And I met Doug Gilmore, like I said, for the first time last week. But I've been to swim events with those guys a few times.
Yeah, you looked dapper that night, bro. I got to say, you look good. You look very good. Hey, so one of the big things that I like to talk about, I think that what kind of separates us from all the other kind of shows that are out there, is I like to talk about psychology. I think psychology is a huge part of the game, about the science behind it. Does that psychology start at 9, or does that develop, or do you even realize it at that time, or is that something that, like, when do you discover the psychology portion of it that you realize it plays a big role? Throwing a punch is one thing, but having that psychology piece is another.
I think that it was really built into me, like when I started boxing, just the discipline of not having a normal life like the rest of the kids. I was, running before school, then after school homework, then to the gym. And then, you have to watch. I was dieting at like 10, 11 years old, sleeping in sauna suits, being like just my life was just boxing.
Mm-hmm. So,
what did your parents think about that when they knew you wanted to be a boxer and you're that gung-ho at such a young age?
They always supported me. My dad was he was very strict. Like, we always had to have passing grades. We couldn't get in trouble with the law. Obviously, no drinking or drugs or anything like that. Like, he ran a very tight ship, and as long as we passed, we could do what we wanted, and that was it.
awesome, man. Awesome. So you turned pro December 18th, and I reached out to you yesterday to wish you a happy anniversary on that. Did you know it was 22 years at that point? Yeah.
I had no idea. I was just telling my girlfriend, I was like, that's crazy. But yeah, a long time ago, it was like we discussed, it was an 8-round, my pro debut in Winnipeg, Manitoba versus Julio Luna.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I went back and like you said, you did dominate that whole fight. You did take all 8 rounds. But you did mention something to me that after that fight, I believe you got a fine and maybe a suspension as well.
Yeah, the commissioner, Ken Hayashi, my manager and trainer at the time, the late Adrian Tedescu, on 2.5 weeks' notice. It was supposed to be Scotty Olsen in the main event, but he got injured or something like that. So they called me, and it's for 8 rounds, which is a lot for your pro debut. So Ken Hayashi was like, listen, Adrian and Stevie, you got a 30-day suspension where you can't go to the gym. And he gave me $100 fine. He only made $2,000 for the fight.
Wow. That's insane, man. That's insane.
Yeah.
How many amateur fights did you have before you turned pro?
121.
121.
Wow.
Yeah, I believe you went 93 and 11, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. What's the difference between amateur fights and turning pro? Like, how much of a difference is it, if there's any difference, except maybe the headgear, or does that come off after a certain point?
The headgear, the smaller gloves. It's obviously now I think amateurs a lot better. Obviously, like the way the scoring system is now. But back in my days when I was at the Pan American Games and the Olympics around that time, the scoring system was like that tight defense. Like, he just got to sneak in a shot like a thread through a needle, and I didn't really like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like that style of fighting. I wasn't good at it. Yeah, I was the best in Canada, but internationally, I never brought home any gold medals. But I had some good fights with some Cubans and stuff like that at the Pan American Games. But I like the pro style a lot better.
Yeah, the Cubans are crazy though, eh?
Yeah, they're insane. And now that they can go pro, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of Cuban world champions in the very near future.
Well, I mean, it's a breeding ground for boxing out there, and unfortunately, I don't think a lot of them have gotten out, to really shine.
Yeah.
God knows how much we've missed.
Yeah.
In terms of some of these great fighters that are out there right now. One that comes to mind is the heavyweight Frank Sanchez. I mean, I think he's still got a ways to go, but that kid looks solid.
I'm back in the old days, guys with Gamboa, but especially Rigo Redondo. He was one of my favorites. That guy was unbelievably technically just a machine.
Yeah, you fought Gamboa as well, correct?
I didn't fight Gamboa or Redondo, thank God.
Oh, no. Okay. Here's an interesting question. I don't know if you've ever been asked this before, Champ, or not, but what did it feel like the first time you got popped? The first time you took a real punch, like not talking about sparring or not, like that first time that you were in the ring, or I guess against Julio Luna when you took that first professional punch. What was that like?
It's an adrenaline rush. It was like a lot of adrenaline, a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
But at that time, when I fought Julio Luna, I had 121 amateur fights under my belt. I was in a different place mentally by then. But my first amateur fight, I remember I was just so excited. I just went out there and was swinging like an animal.
Okay. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm always curious to know, like, what the mindset is at that point, because you go in with a very confident mindset. You know what your outline is, and you know what you want to accomplish. But then you get that first punch. Does that change the game plan? Does it change the way you think about the fight, or is it just a punch?
By the time I fought Julio Luna in my pro debut, I was just already in the zone where I knew what I wanted. I knew what was going to happen. And if somebody landed this or landed that, I still knew I was going to stick to my game plan and win always.
Yeah. What would you say?
What are some of the injuries you sustained over your career, Steve?
Pardon me?
What are some of the injuries that you sustained over your career when you were boxing?
I've had a lot of cuts over my eyes and stuff like that. A couple cuts on my head. Several broken hands. My left hand broke so many times. I don't even know the number.
How many concussions have you had? Is there even a number?
I have some thumb damage too.
Wow.
Wow.
What do you say about concussions?
You know how many you've had over your career?
No, that's the scary part about back in those days. Like, concussions weren't really a thing. You know what I mean?
True.
Like, yeah, we had to get one CT scan a year to get your license to be a pro in Ontario, but like, they weren't really mandatory. You know what I mean?
Now, most of your career, I think you fought most of your career in Canada, which is kind of cool, I guess, in a sense. Like, a lot of guys don't get to fight at home as much as they would like to. Do you think that benefited you a lot? Do you wish that you were able to kind of travel more and fight abroad more, or fight more in the States?
I wish I would have been able to fight in the States more, but I did get to fight in England 5 times, and their crowds are really amazing when it comes to boxing. It's a different atmosphere over there, especially my fight with Carl Frampton. Even though I lost, even my fight with Michael Hunter, the crowd's just on such a different level than here in North America, even Canada. I fought Sebastian Gauthier in Montreal on the road.
Yeah.
I fought Scotty Olsen on the road. So I did go to a lot of guys' backyards and have to be the underdog that way. But I love fighting in Canada. Yeah, obviously.
Awesome. What was it like to fight Scotty Olsen? Obviously, he is a legend, a Canadian legend. Were you starstruck? Yeah.
He's a world legend, not a Canadian legend. He's a
Okay.
world legend.
Awesome, man. Okay, corrected. Scotty Olsen, the world legend. How was that to get in the ring with him?
It was a lot. Again, I was still young. I think I was 21 at the time. It was a big fight for me. I had only had 9 pro fights. He was 34-3 at the time. He was 10-0 fighting in Edmonton. It was his hometown. It was nerve-wracking, but again, I had that mentality at that age at 21 where I just knew that I had to win. I was going to win.
Yeah, no, 100%. And what was it like after the fight? Did you guys were able to connect and talk, or?
Absolutely. We still talk on Facebook. He's
Awesome.
got to be one of the nicest, if not the nicest guys I've met in the sport of boxing. He's just such a nice, humble gentleman, like just a class act all the way.
That's awesome, man. That's really, really cool. I guess straight up, man, what do you think of the current state of boxing today? How do you feel? Is it progressing, or do you think that there's things that we can make better overall, or how do you see it from when you were there?
I don't really see too much what's going on out west, but I just know here in Ontario, there's a lot of good promoters. 3 Lions Promotion, United Promotion, Lee Baxter Promotion. These guys are having fights in the regular. So boxing is definitely alive and well here in Ontario. Obviously, Yvonne Michelle, for generations, has been just killing it as a promoter up in Montreal. Mm-hmm. So boxing is alive and well here. Jean Pascal still doing his thing. Sniffing the world title. David Lemieux this weekend. Costello Clayton, unfortunately, had a bad weekend last weekend. I think he got caught a little cold. But the better man won the fight in the night. No excuses to be made, but it was still only the second round, right?
Yeah, well, I don't think we got to really truly see what he could accomplish. Honestly, he got caught cold, but then again, Boot Sennett is that guy right now, man. I don't know what you could say about him. I think he's going to be the next big thing here, man.
Looks good.
He looked really good. But Cody Crawley as well. He was victorious a few weeks ago as well. Another Canadian guy, but based out of Vegas. Cody, if you're calling, I keep texting you, bro. I'm waiting for you. So, there's a lot of abundance of talent that's out there. I actually caught the one guy who stood out for me. I want to get on that eventually here with your DAZN time. The guy is Zawadi.
Mo Zawadi.
Yeah, that guy looked pretty solid, man. What's his future like?
He's very good. He's got a lot of power. He's got a lot of confidence. I know he's training with Billy Martin now. His promoter's Lee Baxter. So in that regard, he has everything where he wants to be. I think Lee and Billy are just trying to get him not more disciplined, but just Billy's way of work ethic and to be disciplined in the gym and to stay focused and stay in the gym. Being a professional, like especially early in your career, if you're only having 4 and 8 round fights, you got to stay active and be in the gym constantly. He's got a lot of natural talent. He hits very hard and he has a very bright future with the team behind him for sure.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he kind of accomplished. I like to see more than a 4 round fight next time, hopefully. But
well, he hit so hard, it might not happen.
Well, if not, but let's see, let's just build this guy up. I liked him. I did. He really stood out of all the fights of that night. That was the one fight that really stood out in my mind. I'm like, okay, this guy, he's got potential. I just want to see more. I want to see what else he can bring.
What about Brian Acosta?
Ryan Acosta was sick too. Like, they were all sick.
He's that kid's, I like him a lot. He reminds
No,
me a
okay.
lot of myself.
Okay, fair enough. I'll go back and take a peek at him some more. But like I said, for some reason, Zawadi just kind of stood out of my mind. I don't know why. I just kind of saw him. I'm like, oh wow, okay, this is kind of cool.
He's very natural and very smooth. He's just so natural. He reminds me like of a James Toney almost. He's just so natural and relaxed. He is impressive to watch. I'm not going to deny that.
Yeah. No doubt.
So Steve, how did your career change when you switched trainers from Chris Johnson to Stephen Larouche?
Stefan Larouche. Obviously, performance-wise, it didn't really favor me as I got crushed by Caballero in the 4th round. But I do not blame that on Stefan Larouche. Stefan Larouche is one of the greatest trainers, not only in this country, but in this world. I just don't think that me and him had enough time. We had one fight where I knocked the guy in the 10th round, which I was only at camp in Montreal for 2 months. And then for the Caballero fight, I was there for maybe 3 months. 5 months in total is really not enough time to mesh with a coach and to really grasp what he's trying to bring to the table. So I don't put that on Stefan. I put that on myself for kind of rushing everything to make it happen.
If you don't mind me asking, what led to you and Johnson parting ways?
At the time, I was under contract with Alan Tremblay and Orion Sports. It was just like on a fight-to-fight basis. They, I thought they paid me. And there were some people whispering in Chris's ears, like, Stevie could be getting more money. Stevie could be getting this and that. But Don King called my phone. I talked to Bob Arum, and they both said, like, you're making a lot of money. Oscar Lairos was fighting. Who was he fighting for the 3rd time? Anyways, there's a trilogy fight, and Bob Arum said his guys were only getting $100,000 and $80,000 US. I was getting $100,000 for fighting a top 15 guy US dollars at Casino Ram in my hometown. So I was like, yeah, I'm staying with Alan. I signed a contract with Alan, but they said, listen, because Chris was trying to negotiate this and make this happen, he's got to go.
Okay.
But then you guys reconnected.
We did reconnect after the loss and the results that happened. I just went to him. I said, listen, like, with no disrespect to any of the trainers I had, me and Chris has had that connection, that chemistry without even speaking to each other. We knew.
Mm-hmm. So one of those unbreakable bonds sort of a deal, man. You connect with someone you just already know without speaking. I get it.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. What are you up to these days now? I know that you're doing color commentating, color analyzing. Congratulations on your DAZN debut a couple weeks ago. How was that?
Yeah.
You're doing great. I love it.
It was crazy good, awesome. Corey Erdman's very, very good at what he does. He's so professional. He knows everything. He makes it easy for me. I mean, he tees it up and I just get to hit it out of the park for free. But yeah, I loved it. I love it. I mean, I love boxing. I love to watch boxing. I'm always watching boxing. It's what I know. It's what I've done my whole life. So I really enjoy it.
Are you still training? I've seen you in the gym hitting the pad. You look pretty good still. You getting that itch again?
No, I would never fight again. But yeah, I'm always in the gym. It's just natural for me. It makes me feel good, look good.
But we're in the world of exhibitions, brother, man. I mean, if Floyd and all those guys are doing what they're doing, I'm sure you can get something going here. A little fun.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. All right, man. We never know. We never know. Who do you like these days? Who are you watching and following?
Who do I like and follow? Jeez. I watched the Charlos on the weekend. Who do I like? I like Lomachenko, even though he's lost. I love Lomachenko. I think he's so good technically, and what he's done as so early in his professional career. I just think he's such a talented fighter. It's like people don't really have an idea or can really grasp how good he really is.
No, I think he's amazing. We actually got to meet Teofimo in Vegas a few weeks ago. We were down for the Shakir Stevenson fight down there, and you know, contrary to the way that guy comes off, he was so nice.
Very friendly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
friendly. So yeah, he was like, he remembered our names, and he was just like, wow.
Well, hey, ask yourself this though. Maybe he's been humbled a little bit as of late. Maybe he got
That's a
humbled
good
little
point.
bit.
No, we talked about that, and his dad wasn't with him. So I mean, I think that was the other thing. We're Chance and I both kind of agree that for him to become successful, he kind of needs to, not have his dad in his corner anymore.
Yeah,
You know?
and you're right. Teal's not that bad, but his old man gets behind him and starts bark, and then kind of Teal has to back up that play, and it's not a good look for him.
No.
Yeah. And I personally think also, like, back onto Lomo, did Teofimo beat him, or did just Lomo have a bad night? Considering the way he lost to Kambosos after.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, but again, Lomachenko, he's just so, people just don't have any idea how good he is. The things he does in the ring, like, it's incredible.
Yeah. How do you see the Haney Kambosos fight playing out here in June?
I think Devin Haney is going to have a real rude awakening when he hears the crowd in Australia.
You think so?
I think that he's never felt that sort of pressure, that sort of environment, and that's going to be a big factor in how that fight plays out and how he handles that.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's down there now, so he's in Australia. There, he's training, getting ready.
I don't give a shit if he's down there. I'm talking about when that crowd's going ballistic.
Yeah.
That first bell rings. He's not gonna. It's different.
Yeah. So
you felt that when you're in England.
A few times.
Yeah.
Carl Frampton, I kind of chuckled when Big John was having a go at him there. I thought of you. I'm thinking, okay, this is for Steve, man. What was it like fighting Carl Frampton?
Tough, obviously.
Yeah, no, 100%. But do you think if it was more of a neutral ground, it would have been a different fight, or does that whole crowd thing come into play that you were talking about earlier?
Had nothing to do with the crowd. Had something to do with the age and the point of my career that I was at. I was at the tail end of my career. No discredit to Carl Frampton. He beat me fair and square, and he's a great fighter. He proved it by becoming a two-way world champion. Like, the guy's a superstar, a Hall of Famer. He beat me fair and square. So yeah, my hat's off to Carl, obviously.
How old were you for that fight? 32?
31 or 32, I forget. Yeah, in that age.
Okay. So when did you, unfortunately, when did you decide that it was time to hang it up? Like, at what point?
Well, on the plane ride home, I knew, I was like, listen, that's it for me. And then I think like 3 or 4 months later, we had Alan set up something that we had an announcement for it.
Okay. So you had some time to think about it and everything like that. Was there any point that you thought maybe there's a little bit more, or you pretty much made your mind up on the plane?
Yeah, I was tired.
You were tired. Right?
Yeah.
So at bantamweight, what's your walking weight?
Well, super bantamweight 122.
122.
Right. I used to walk around 140, 145.
Okay, and the weight cuts, how's that? Like, is that more taxing than training, or do you become used to it?
Because I started so young to diet and to train to make weight, I became pretty good at it, and I never lost a lot of weight at the end like all these guys do in the UFC and stuff like that, but wearing sauna suits. I would burn fat through my training camp and just get lean, and then maybe the last day I'd have to maybe lose 5 or 6 pounds of just water before I weighed in.
Okay, so 120.
Discipline with your diet, your training, your exercise.
Right. So 122. So what did you fight at then? Like, what did you come back up to for the fights usually, roughly?
Because in Ontario, as you know, the weigh-ins are the same day. I didn't go too crazy and go crazy with the food because I had to fight in like 12 hours, right?
Yeah. How does that work? I hope they change that rule. I don't think that's kind of cool. I think you need at least a day.
I've heard a lot of goods from lot of good, reliable source in Ontario that rule is going to change before the end of this year. That rule is going to change in Ontario.
It's still in existence that way, eh?
Yeah.
Oh wow,
crazy,
that's tough, right? Man. Yeah, I don't agree with that. Like, I mean, we're in this world of cutting weight, and it's so prominent. It's almost a bigger story than the fight in a lot of cases. I mean, Charles Oliveira, 0.5 of a pound, and he's stripped of his title. That's insane, man. Like,
No.
what can they do to, like, you know, weight cutting is just such a horrible part of the process, I feel.
Well, that has nothing to do really with the promotion or the commission. That's a fighter. If a fighter signs a contract to say, "Hey, I'm going to make 155," that's on him, not the promotion. I mean, that's on him that he decided to make that weight. It's not the promotion's fault. It's his fault.
Right.
And if a guy decides that, "Hey, I'm going to be a fight at 155," then, you know, make sure you're able to make that weight and make it healthy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No,
But everyone
sure.
always wants to have the best advantage they can to win. That's just human nature, right? To be the best.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I always kind of think about is, okay, for example, you said to me you walk around at 144 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And why not fight at 135 or something like that? Like, not you per se, but just generally, like, what's the logic behind of someone going down so far if they're already walking here and they maybe only need to lose 5 or 10 pounds?
From just my experience,
In your experience, yeah.
even in wrestling in high school and boxing from a young age, that, you know, you get your body down to the smallest where you can be your best and strongest fight.
Mhm.
And even as, you know, as an amateur, I was 106 pounds. I didn't have to really lose any weight. Then I went up to 112, and then when I was like around 21, 22, I had to start losing weight. I got up to like 140. I got like my man strength and stuff like that. It became a lot tougher for me to make weight.
Awesome, man.
Steve, take us through the training camp when you're getting ready for a fight. How many hours a day were you in the gym, and how often are you sparring? Give our listeners a little bit of a sneak peek and how that works.
Every camp, I always sparred 3 days a week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. In the morning, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., I do my 10K run, my weights, my strength and conditioning, swimming, whatever it may be. And then at boxing would be either pads on Tuesday, Thursday with Chris, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday was sparring. And then Saturday we'd do some sort of activity. And then Sunday was an off day, but I'd still go for a nice light run.
Awesome. And how did you prepare mentally? Like, what was the mental preparation like? And was that throughout the whole camp, or is that just a lifestyle?
Life.
Life, eh?
I just always watching boxing, watching the 24/7s, watching how, you know, Mayweather, how him and his team do it, watch how these guys do it, just taking notes, and just being just fully submerged in boxing.
Mm-hmm. And is that carry on today?
Not fully submerged, no, but
No.
a lot.
But like, cause I was listening to another interview that you were doing, and you were talking about, you know, this was about 2 or 3 years ago. You were doing this interview, and you talked about that alpha male. You know, like if you're at the grocery store and there's a guy in line beside you, you want to be the guy who goes first. Does that still happen? Is that still happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So you're getting your shit out first. That's sweet.
Like, listen to me. I'm not a dick or confrontational, like, at all in any means. But yeah.
So
I think a lot of guys have the same mentality, to be honest.
Oh, dude, I'm the same way. If I'm at, you know, it's a red light, there's a guy beside me, I'm not gonna look at the guy, but my pure intention is to fucking cross the line before that guy does. I don't know why. I've always been that way. Like, I'm a huge F1 guy as well. So maybe that's just the racing side of me. Like, okay, fuck it, I'm in my Elantra. I'm gonna fuck this guy. Right? Like, but that's about it.
I'm not the only one.
There you go. No, he's not the only one. We're all the same. It's okay. It doesn't change. It doesn't change. But you and I, we have one thing in common. We're both Aries. Our birthdays are a day apart, so that's awesome.
Are you the third or the fifth?
I'm the fifth, man.
Nice.
04, 05, 75. Love that shit.
04, 04, 80. It's easy.
There you go. There you go. There you go. What's the future hold? Are you gonna continue with the Cutter Analyst promoting?
As long as these guys want me, like, I love it. For me, I get to sit ringside, which I just love boxing. So to sit ringside is just a treat for me. To sit there and call the fights and give my thought or my angle on, like, I love that sort of thing.
Awesome. Now I know that you've traveled a lot, you know, Winnipeg. Have you ever been to Vancouver?
I did. I fought at the 2000 Canadian Championships. Oh, where are they? They're in BC somewhere. I think on the island, maybe.
Victoria, probably.
No, I don't know. Something foot, maybe, I don't know. I'm sorry.
No
It was a
worries,
long
man.
time ago.
No worries. Yeah, you got to come out here, man. This is probably, I mean, with all due respect, I am an Ontario-born guy, but I got to say Vancouver is probably the prettiest city in this country. Hands
I'd
down.
love to make it out there one day, and if I do, I'll definitely catch up with you guys.
Oh, definitely. We'd love to show you
Do
around,
that.
take you out and round it
There you
about and whatnot. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think our fight scene is as strong as it is back east, obviously. So we do rely a lot more on, the Seattle, like Seattle is only an hour and a half away from us
Nice.
by car. So, and Vegas is, what, a 2 hour flight. So we have those options, but I would love to see a lot more in Vancouver. How do we grow the sport in your opinion? What can we do to grow the sport here?
Just keep promoting it and just hope that somebody has a belief like these guys, these Lee Baxter, these Jim Gentos, all these guys, Dan Otter, all these promoters. I mean, they put their money where their mouth is. They set up these events, and boxing's growing here in Ontario. You go to these shows, they're sold out. They're flashy events. Like these guys are doing well, and then they're continuing to have shows consistently, especially now that COVID's basically over. They're doing really well. So boxing's alive and well, and just somebody's got to just come along in BC and do that. And you also have to have a product to sell.
Yeah.
Homegrown products can make it a lot easier to sell. I personally myself don't know of anyone that could headline a show, and no disrespect, because I just don't.
No,
No.
and there is no disrespect there. I mean, I've been to one show here myself. It was at the Commodore Chance. They put the ring up on the stage. So it's kind of an elevated stage, and you had the ring up there. But most of the talent that came up was all from Mexico. So we get a lot of the Mexican fighters that come up here. A lot of them are also doing their MMA out here as well now. So you got a few guys and girls from Mexico that are kind of making their mark more so on the MMA side of it. Your thoughts on MMA? How do you feel? Do you think it's made boxing better, or do you think it's hurt it?
I think
Or
it's
is it?
made it better. I think it's made it better. Like it's made fighting more acceptable, I think, with a common household person. Like, you know what I mean?
But do you think it's forced boxing's hand? Because I mean, Dana White and not just the UFC, but all of them are putting on the fights that everybody wants to see, and that's the one of the big issues with boxing is we don't get those fights in a timely fashion. Like I was telling Chance, Pacquiao Mayweather should have happened maybe 7 years before it actually did.
Yeah, and I don't think it forced the hand of boxing at all, because if you look at the end of the day,
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, it's all about.
so no one's forcing boxing's hand at all. And there is still big delays and big fights. Like, who didn't want to see AJ and Fury? There's a lot of big fights that still aren't happening. I don't think the UFC forces boxing hand in any way, shape, or form.
Fury retired, or is he just talking shit?
Who knows? But I'd love to see him fight again.
Me too.
Well, I mean, I think we get the Usyk fight here in July. So if that happens, I mean, if everything's right, he should technically. I mean, that's the one thing he hasn't done. I mean, he was rattling off his accolades. I've won this. I've done this. I've done everything. He's done everything except one thing: be unified. And I think personally, he can kick the shit out of both of them.
Yeah, me too.
I think Joshua's done. I think Andy Ruiz just broke him physically and mentally when they fought first. He hasn't been the same since.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's going to lose to Usyk again.
Okay.
And I just think Tyson Fury's size, he's just such a big, agile, athletic man. Usyk is great, as is Lomachenko. They come from the same camp, but size makes a difference.
Well, we saw that against Kaleno and Bivol there, man.
Exactly. That's why I told everyone, size makes a difference. Eventually, like, we can only go up so much.
Yeah, I think Canelo was eating enchiladas just to make weight on the scale. So.
Yeah.
And I think, Bivol came in over 200 pounds for that fight as well. I mean, you know what? No disrespect to Canelo. The guy was chasing greatness, and I respect that 100%. But, dude, know your lane. There's no, 100 times out of 100, I think Bivol beats him every time.
100%.
Right? Like, you look at his face.
100%.
His arm was fucked up, but his face was okay. Like, not a mark on his face.
And to be honest, I don't think it'd be much different at 168. Bivol has that strong European, just Russian, those overhand shots like Lomachenko and those guys throw in Triple G. And he's just a very disciplined, straight down the middle. Like, I think he beats Canelo 10 out of 10 times as well.
So Eddie
They're
Hearns
saying
came.
that next week Canelo's going to announce if he's going to rematch Bivol or fight Triple G in September 17th. So we'll find out.
Because he's already piped up, I believe, saying he wants to activate the rematch clause immediately. I think that he has to to fight Bivol now. He's gonna look like a scaredy cat almost. If he doesn't.
That's true.
I completely agree. I totally agree. Eddie, I know Eddie was talking yesterday, and he's saying that they really think he should fight Triple G. Like even Eddie Hearns and Eddie Reynoso are both probably, tongue in cheek, but they're saying don't do this. Go fight Triple G.
Fight Triple G and then fight somebody else or whoever, and then fight Bivol again, because Bivol is going to be around for a long time.
Exactly, and that's what I was saying. I think he needs to fight Jamal, because Jamal said he's going up to 168.
And I think that's a fight that Canelo wins.
Right, so he can win them all, absolutely. But I think he needs to fight Jamal. I do think he needs to fight Benavidez at one point as well.
And fighting Bivol right away is just going to break him down and just take years off his career, because Bivol is big, and if he ever got hit or hurt or clipped or wobbled or knocked out, that can really turn your career upside down.
Yeah. 64 fights already, though, man. I mean, it's insane to think the guy's he's 32 years old, and he's already got 64 fights.
15 years old, his pro debut, 14 or 15. Like, that's insanity.
I was looking deeper into him, and I realized he had his first kid at 15 too. No shit.
That's crazy.
Sure. Well, it's Mexican style, right? I mean, they're crazy down there. So how much truth is in the fact that he ate a tainted hamburger, which caused him to test positive for PEDs?
I wasn't there, so I can't say. If you're asking me personally, I just think that's obviously a lie.
Yeah,
that's bullshit.
No, 100%. I'm just curious. I mean, because he got off pretty light. Granted, they said he cooperated with the commission, but that's an automatic 1 year. He only got to 6 months, and his excuse was bullshit. Like, I ate a hamburger.
At the end of the day, you know how the commission gets paid, right?
Yeah, I get it. Well, I think, what did he say? Like, we didn't pay the judges enough this night in terms of the Bivol fight. He said that.
He didn't. That was a meme. I don't think he really said that. He was not.
I know. But I mean, you never know. Like you said, right? Steve, we're so happy that you could do this with us tonight, man. What do you think of the fights tonight? How do you see Lemieux faring for this weekend?
I want David Lemieux to win. He's Canadian. For Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel that Lemieux, I wouldn't say he's on the way down, because he's not. But I feel that Benavidez is just on a skyrocket kind of up, where he's going to be hitting his peak, and his moment of greatness is going to be coming anytime soon. Mm-hmm. I think this could be a breakthrough fight for him. But David Lemieux always has that puncher's chance and could turn his life at any given second. So I think when you're fighting a guy like David Lemieux, it's a 50-50, because if he hits you, it's over.
He's a big underdog. According to Vegas, he's a 7-1 underdog, but who knows? Camboso was a 12-1 underdog, and look what he did. So you just don't know. Yeah,
but Benavidez has those long, lanky arms. If he starts using his distance, it's going to cause a lot of problems for Lemieux.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you think he's overlooking him at all?
I think that at this stage, and being Mexican like Benavidez, I don't think they do that. Mm-hmm. I don't do that. I don't think that they do either.
Yeah. So Floyd fights this weekend on top of the Burj Khalifa.
I thought that got canceled because the president died.
No, they rescheduled it for this weekend.
Oh, who is it? Is this kid a rapper?
No, it's a guy. What's his name? Dan Chance.
A former sparring partner, was it?
No, he was a former boxer himself. He's undefeated.
Moore something.
Yeah, Dan Moore or something. So he's never lost, but he's never fought anyone either, to be fair. I mean,
well, what's his connection to get that sort of money in Dubai? Who the fuck is this guy?
He's nobody, and it's just someone to make Floyd look good, I'm thinking. I mean,
so Floyd orchestrated all this and got the money guys involved. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's a Floyd style. It's a money fight, right? I mean, it's Floyd.
Isn't Anderson Silva on the undercard?
I believe everything is still the same. Everything they just moved it up a week to honor the president of Saudi Arabia dying, Muslim tradition says it's 3 days of mourning. So everything shuts down. They do nothing. It's a ghost town for 3 days until they have this service or what. So, but that's going to go down this weekend now, finally. So I guess that's about what, your 10, 11 o'clock in the morning here on the West Coast.
Well, I don't know who this guy is, but I'll tell you this, both you. You know, Floyd's not going to orchestrate something where he's going to even come close to losing, or look bad.
No,
Oh, yeah,
100%.
It's gonna be a quick night at the office.
I think he's going to try to do something here, because I think he took a lot of flack for that Logan Paul fight. Like, I mean, he kind of he played with his food. Like, he really,
Logan's a lot bigger than Floyd, though, too.
no, I understand that. But what I'm saying is he could have, it didn't have to be as long as it did.
I don't think if he really wanted to at that point of Floyd, where Floyd's at now, I don't think if he tried to get size matters. And Logan Paul's a big, tough, strong white boy from the States. I mean, that matters. And no matter how good Floyd is, size matters. And I don't think he could knock out that kid if he really wanted to.
No, Logan's too big.
Yeah.
Steve, do you still train fighters? Do you work with the young fighters coming up or anything like that?
I do some work here and there with some local guys in Hamilton, the Wilcox boys, Evan Gillard, whoever wants to do some work with me, but nothing really full time. No.
Cool.
Okay. Awesome, man. And so you're basically got so many things on the go now as well. What's coming up? Like, are you just going to stick with the analyst role, or do you foresee yourself kind of breaking off into kind of, maybe getting on with the TSN or Sportsnet or something like that, or Fight Network, to get more work that way?
No, I like what I'm doing now. Like, I just like going to the shows, sitting close, enjoying the night of the fights, being front row. I just like doing that for now. Like, nothing that I take too seriously. Like, well, I do take it seriously when I do it. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to give up my job at Triple M Metal to become a commentator.
How was that transition from fight career to 9 to 5?
It was a little different at first, but naturally growing up, my father always made sure I was, cutting the grass, shoveling the snow, doing this, doing that, making sure I was working. So it was natural for me to want to work and do something.
Fair enough. That's awesome. And I, like you said, I've heard you started from the ground up. And how's that going now? Like, where you at with the company? How?
Now I'm the operations manager, so I run my own yard in Kitchener.
Okay.
Yeah, I started right at the bottom. They gave me an opportunity, and I worked my way up through hard work and dedication. I've been there for 10 years now. I love my job, though.
That's awesome, man. Steve, I want to, thank you so much, man, for taking the time out to join us tonight. I hope we can do this again. Would love to talk to you after some of the big fights that go down to kind of get your opinion, if you're down for that ever. But yeah, thank you so much, brother, man. This is truly like my victory here tonight, man. I have to say.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Listeners, so just so the listeners know, we reached out to you in February, and we've been grinding, man. I've been working and toiling, and I've been putting in the miles here. So I am so honored and privileged that you finally said yes. Thank you so much, man.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry I made you guys wait that long. It's an honor to be on the show. You guys have my number. I'll definitely do the show whenever you guys want. After any big fight, you guys hit me up and we can get it done.
Steve,
awesome,
you want to hear the backstory? I was watching your fight against Frampton on YouTube. And then if you watch YouTube, it says recommended. And I seen you doing interviews with, podcasts with other people. So I'm like, hey, we should message Steve. Maybe he'll come on. And that's kind of what got me going, is watching your fight. And it kind of, we messaged you. And thank you so much. It's much appreciated. It's an honor.
Chance planted the seed, but I watered it.
Yeah. Team effort.
Team effort, man.
Thank you.
Champ, thank you so much for this opportunity. We're really blessed and privileged to have this. This is going to be great for our show as well. And, we just, like I said, we want to get the word out there of all the great Canadian talent that we have in our country. There's so much focus on England and the US, and, we're right there. We're so close to everyone. So, it's important for me and for Chance to let our listeners know, and let the listeners know that, hey, some great shit's coming out of our country as well. We're not just hello and thank you. We can kick your fucking ass too.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome, brother. All right, man. Well, again, thank you. And you know what? Thank you for all you've contributed to the boxing world and you continue to do. Yeah, man. It's been a slice.
Thank you for your time, Steve. I got one more question. Since you're a hockey fan, what's your prediction for the Stanley Cup here? What two teams you got going at it?
After the Leafs loss, I don't watch anymore.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Good answer.
Fair enough, man. Yeah. I stopped watching in I think November after the Habs really showed what I to expect this year. So uh but we got first draft. We got the first pick. No, we got the first pick though.
Hey,
Yeah.
you shouldn't count that as a victory or a blessing because you guys got so far behind to get first pick.
Well, hey man, I mean you're talking to an Oilers fan up here. So I mean you want to talk about first picks. How many
Yeah, we got a
goals
lot of them.
What'd you guys let in last night? 10 goals, 9 goals?
Oh, yeah, it was brutal, dude. Brutal.
Awesome. All right, Steve, we don't want to keep you away from your family and you know, thank you again and you know, have a great weekend and we'll talk to you soon, man.
Thank you.
Have a good night, fellas.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
Awesome.
Take care.
Talk to you soon. Okay, bye-bye. Hey everybody, welcome back. So that just happened, Chance. We got to sit down with the two-time world champion himself. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was a great conversation. What was your take on it?
I thought it was really good. He's a super cool guy. Answered all of our questions. He actually seemed like he enjoyed being on. Sometimes you watch people's podcasts, they don't really enjoy being on certain guests, but he enjoyed it and I enjoyed it. And I thank him for doing it. Big honor.
Yeah, no, 100%. I really like the fact that we have a different take on it. I think I'm hoping he appreciated that and kind of saw that himself, that you know, our takes and our approach to it all was very different. It wasn't very based on anything negative or anything dark like that. We just kind of focused on what was happening and what's going to happen, and you know, just the good stuff, man. And that's what we are here at Samp&Chance. We just want to bring the good stuff out, and you know, when we have to talk about the dark, we will talk about the dark. But for the most part, we want to focus on all the positive vibes that you know everyone has, and all the good things that they've done.
And I think we asked him some questions that he hasn't been asked before. I've listened to a few of his past podcasts. We had a few questions that he hasn't been asked. Something fresh, something different. So I liked it.
Yeah, so you know what? Again, a big shout out to Steve Molitor for coming on and joining us, and you know, we hope to have him back on in the future to hopefully talk about other fights that are coming up. I love his insight, I love his opinions, and remember, fans, Scotty Olsen is a boxing legend. I was corrected
Not a
today.
Canadian legend, boxing legend.
Not a Canadian legend, a boxing legend, and you know what? He is right in every sense of the world. So Scotty Olsen, I apologize. And
The Bulldog, Scotty Olsen, only 5 foot, but man, he 5 feet, but he packs a punch.
he was solid, man. I would love to talk to him sometime. Hopefully, we can get him on the show with us as well.
Yeah,
But yeah, so that's it. Here we are. The long weekend is upon us. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful weekend. It looks like. Got plans?
Yeah. I'm watching my Oilers and hitting up All Star and Loft Country Wrestling with you. So wrestling all weekend.
There you go, man. A bit, maybe a little bit of wrestling on the ice too. Milan Lucic out there destroying Connor. How do you feel about that?
That
Clean hit,
Cassian's
man.
got to answer, man. Cassian's got to step up.
I don't think
Protect him.
Cassian's tough enough to take on Lucic. I'll be honest.
Maybe not a fist fight, but you can bang with him a little bit. Lucic is tough, man. He's a good player, tough boy.
I think he's the toughest guy in the NHL right now, in my opinion.
He's one of them.
Yeah, like and that was a super clean hit on McDavid. I'm you know, I'm glad he got up. I really am. I think if anything happened to him, this series would probably be over.
It would be. Mike Smith's got to play better than that, man. Letting in 9 goals, not acceptable.
They didn't pull him?
No, we played the whole game. He's playing tonight. Yeah. So.
And who's your backup? Do you even
Mikko
know?
Yeah, Mikko. He's okay. But Smith is letting in a lot of soft. If he does that again tonight, get him out.
I think they should have got him. I'm surprised they kept him in for that. That kind of reminds me of the Luongo situation here in Vancouver, where they kept him in for 9 goals or 10 goals or something. Remember?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, here we are. Chance, I need you to get to your TV screen so you can watch your beloved Oilers, and I wish you the best of luck tonight.
Need it.
Guys, we will connect with you guys really soon. David Benavides against David Lemieux this weekend as well. Vegas isn't giving Lemieux much of an opportunity. But you know what though? He's got power. And
Oh, yeah.
if he can connect and if he can hit that right spot, anything can happen. But I'll go on the limb here and say this is Benavidez is to lose.
I hate to say it, but yeah, you're right, man. I want the Canadian boy to win, but it's not looking good.
Yeah. So I mean, best luck to both guys fighting in tomorrow night. We also have a couple other cards that are happening. The Zones has a card out of Europe this weekend as well. We'll touch base on that one as well. And yeah, we'll fill you guys in with all the details of all the happenings in the world here, professional wrestling and boxing as we go along. So again, thank you guys for tuning in and enjoying this. I hope you all enjoyed this interview, and I hope you guys like what we did. But please, comment in the comments below. Let us know what we can do better. Let us know how we can, make things better. And in the future, another thing that might be interesting to do is we can announce what some of these interviews are going to be. And if you have questions or things that you want us to ask our guest, this is the opportunity to do so. So,
Yeah.
like I said, as we're growing, we're growing with you guys. And with that, I'd like to say thank you for all your time and energy that you've invested in us. And yeah, I'm Bobby Sampson.
Chance Michaels. And for those who listen to this podcast, we salute you.
All right, guys, have a great night, and we will talk to you guys soon.